Good morning, everyone in South Africa and in Europe. It is 9:30. I welcome you all very much to our webinar, CNI Portfolio for South Africa with GoodWe and Rubicon. Let me introduce you myself first. My name is Richard Kieber. I'm the marketing manager for Europe and South Africa, based out of Munich in Germany. First, I would like to do the technical things. So very important, all non-speakers, that means especially the panelists, should mute their microphone, and please also mute your phones in the background so we have no disturbances. For all the attendees, there is in the Zoom, in the table below, there is a chat button in which you could, at all times, you can put in your questions, and people, either Nick or David or Stephen from of the speakers, will be able or will try to answer those already during the times they're not speaking. Let me introduce our speakers. So we have Nick Roche. He's the Chief Product Officer at Rubicon. A little bit about Nick. After studying electronics, Nick worked at the UK branch on the German industrial sensor giant SICK for several years, specializing in industrial automation sensors and automatic identification technologies. After spending a year traveling across Africa, he returned to South Africa in 2006 to take up technical position in logistics automation at FKI Logistics, now Humer, and then the automotive production line manufacturer Genera, before being offered the opportunity to open the new branch of Rubicon in Cape Town as a branch manager in 2010. The business grew steeply over 10 years, and then in late 2019, he went on to become the Rubicon's group's Chief Product Officer, responsible for the product portfolio and the new product development division. Our second speaker today is Stephen Davey, Head of Business Development for Sub-Saharan Africa at GoodWe. Stephen has had direct commercial involvement with over 540 megawatt of PV projects and sales throughout his 15-year international PV career. His education includes a science bachelor in electrical engineering, an executive MBA together with project management, commercial and contracts law, and investment management and NABCEP PV design certifications. Stephen has been integral in building local operations, supply chains, and cross-functional teams for American, European, and Chinese companies such as Satcom Technology, Canadian Solar, Bonfilioli, and now GoodWe. He brings a unique combined skill set with commercial strategy expertise and is focused on growing GoodWe's brand presence into Africa. Speaker number 3 is our own David Havenga, Technical Manager for Southern Africa at GoodWe. David has been working in the solar industry for almost 5 years, and he started his solar career with Tasol Solar, from doing equipment repair to overseeing large PV installations. Then he moved to Seagen Solar, where he gained expertise to lead the technical service team and perform post-sales functions in Johannesburg and Cape Town, while providing training and mentorship to the growing team. He is highly adept in fault finding and is a part of the GoodWe team to implement customer service and support to Southern Africa. Here you can see today's agenda. So what I'm doing just right now is point 1, the introduction. Then first we're going to start with Nick with the presentation about Rubicon. Then the main part of the product portfolio in the CNI segment GoodWe, which is being taken by Stephen. Then we have a quick survey. Later on, point 5 will be David with the GoodWe CNI product and system, more from the technical aspect. At 6, we're going to have a little questionnaire where we have where you have the possibility to win a $50 voucher from Amazon, and that would conclude the webinar for today. We're very happy to have you all on board, and so I would give the word to Nick Roche. Thank you.
Morning, guys. We're going to do a little bit of, Lucas is going to do a little bit of screen juggling here. Hopefully we can get my screen up in front of you. Sorry, just a moment. Can anybody see my presentation? Sorry, I'm a little bit blind.
No, not yet, Nick.
Not yet, Nick. Nick, there should be a button at the bottom that you can click on Zoom where you can share your screen. Should be
Nick,
green.
Nick, you need to open your presentation first, then click sharing screen.
Got it. There we go. Okay. Great. Thanks, guys. So I guess it's pretty clear that Rubicon has developed a collaboration with GoodWe. We actually have historical friendships and relationships that go back years with some of the management, and it was one of these things that just kind of happened organically. We've been working with them probably about, it must be close to 2 years now in the background, and it's started to gain momentum, and here we are. So of course we know Steve well, and we know Thomas, who's the MD in Germany, and some of the other guys, and it's great to be working with them. For those of you who know or knew the Solar Frontier product, Thomas Horing was one of the senior guys there, and he's kind of our go-to guy in Germany that we have a good relationship with, and we've built on that history. So yeah, so I just wanted to spend 2 minutes. I'm not going to PowerPoint you to death. I just, a lot of you know as well, I just wanted to go through a couple of the key highlights, and we'll go from there. Just for the benefit of our customers, there's a lot of Rubicon staff here, so most of your sales guys are in the call. So if you have questions and things, you're welcome to direct them at us, and we'll get them to answer them for you. So quick facts about Rubicon. 1986 we started. We're working on quite a large pipeline of projects, depending on how you define it. It's over 500 megs. We're active in 15 countries. Our Africa division is now up and running. We have a full-time director running that, and that's looking great. We are by turnover the largest in Africa, and of course we supply tier 1 quality stuff, and for 2020 we're forecasting to do around about R1 billion. Just to give you a flavor of what we do, so we have a full basket. That's our sort of key to our business. We have a complete basket of top international brands, fully nationally, or full national and international logistics. That's also something that we do a lot of. Very large stock holding. We've got branches in Cape Town, Joburg, PE, East London, Namibia. I believe Craig from Namibia is here as well, and Devin will be online shortly. There's also some other things happening, so we're expanding at the moment, and we would like to think that we have most territories covered, and certainly the ones that are not covered will be covered shortly. So, one of the things that's really near and dear to us is that we offer more than just the box moving. We add value, and we do that through having full technical back office. In-house competence is very important to us. We have dedicated technical support staff, both on-site and telephonic. Internationally backed tech support, so in other words, all of the multinationals, we usually work as sort of a level 1 tech support, sometimes level 2, and then obviously it's internationally backed for level 3. And then we have multiple repair centers across the country. We've got a new one that's just starting in Joburg. We have a small one in PE, and then the main one at the moment sits in Cape Town, where we have 2 full-time electronics technicians doing component level repair. What we repair there varies from product to product. Obviously, not every item is serviced or repaired by us, but we certainly do the first line testing and so on there. Okay, so let's have a look at what our relationship with GoodWe looks like and why we've done that. GoodWe adds quite a lot of value to our basket. We're very excited about the partnership. We're partnering with internationals with a long-term view. We don't sort of do flash in the pan stuff. There's a lot of effort and time and so on that goes into the background of these, let's say, starting a new relationship like this. We only partner with A-grade suppliers. We did a lot of research and investigation before we decided to dive in with GoodWe, and we really have found that they've lived up to their name. And for us, quality and integrity are key. We can't be working with the sort of wishy-washy stuff. And so we went to the factory last year, and we were very impressed by what we saw. It really cemented our view of them. So we're very excited about our partnership going forward. Okay. Important of like this is obviously certification. So we've seen enough certification to know that all of our local requirements are matched. All of the NRS stuff is absolutely there. But also something that kind of goes hand in hand with that is awards and so on. So these guys have been awarded multiple awards. They've won a couple recently, last year. And there've been quite a few quality awards that they've run away with. So really getting some good international attention. Yeah. Okay. So in terms of the portfolio, it fits very nicely with where we play. Obviously, we have quite a good residential and small commercial installer base, and so we have everything from the smallest little machines down to the sort of 1 or 3 kilowatt level, and then going all the way up to the commercial stuff, the MT series, the 80. So we'll look at that in more detail, but the point is that it's a full comprehensive portfolio. Yeah, that's great. I mentioned certification, very important for us. So all of the stuff that we're selling is NRS 097 certified. The latest version, which is important, 2017 version. And for those of you in Cape Town, you'll see that quite a lot of this stuff is on the city's list. There are a couple of obviously missing items there, but they have been approved. They're just not on the list. They'll be added to the list at the end of the month. So the 80 kilowatt machine, and then the DNS series as well. But again, we'll talk about that more in a bit. I think the point is that we're on top of that. We're making sure that all of that stuff is registered. David is taking care of most of that, but very important for us. Okay, just a little more. Obviously, Rubicon is a complete basket supplier, as I said. So very important is to our offering to you as EPCs and installers is the fact that we have a full supply of modules. We have a very good stock. Only A-grade tier 1 product. There are some cheapy-cheaps, and people ask us to compete against them, and we don't. We're not really interested in doing that. It's not who we are. There's too much risk in that. So generally, we're in the top 10 unless it's a specialist product. And typically, across the group, we've got between 3 and 5 megawatts in stock at any moment. Storage, we have a full range of storage in stock, which we use, with GoodWe and otherwise. We've got Palantek's high voltage and low voltage offering, Brunova and Soltaro. And we just use it's horses for courses, right? We use the right product for the job. I think we're quite well known for having a very full balance of system offering: cable, connectivity, switchgear, surge protection, and then AC and DC combiners. We have a department that is looking after all of these. We're getting a lot of inquiries for electrical assemblies and so on, and we use contractors, and we then design and specify everything and have it built, and it's quite a big part of our business now. I think it's pretty safe to say that we can do A to Z. I don't think there's anything we don't have or can't do for an average PV system in South Africa. We have surge protection of every shape and size and type and voltage, and the same is true with switchgear and all of the other components. Running structure is, of course, important, and so on. EV is something that's becoming more and more important. We've won some nice projects recently. We're working closely with quite a few of the big automotive guys. As you know, Rubicon is very active in the automotive industry through our industrial division, and so we're working closely with some of those guys. We've won some nice projects there as well, from the small little home chargers right up to 120 kilowatt machines. We've done everything so far. We've got a couple in the major centers already, and the guys are starting to roll out quite nicely. So it's just worth knowing that it's there. Okay, so we're an innovative technology-based company. So we want to focus on solutions. We're not, we want to make sure that our customer leaves with a full basket, a full complete A to Z solution. And we leverage all the technology in our basket to do that. I think that's very, very important, that everybody sees that we add value. How do we do that? So field and telephonic tech support, a lot of training, national logistics and warehousing. And I think another point that you can add to that is what I mentioned in the previous slide, where we're providing solutions, not just a piece of cable or whatever it might be. Okay, and that's it from my side. You're welcome to engage with me later or whatever. And so yeah, over to you, Steve.
Thank you, Nick. Just give me a second, guys, to switch over here. Okay. Okay, can everyone see that?
Yeah, we can see, Steve.
Okay, great. Yeah, thanks, Nick. Yeah, just very quick good morning to everyone from my side. Thank you, both Nick and Richard. And thank you to everyone who has joined. So I'm going to briefly be covering firstly, the company overview, just to give you a little bit of history about GoodWe and where GoodWe has come from. And then I'll be going into some of the highlights of our C&I product portfolio. And then at the end of my portion of the presentation, we're just going to have a very brief 2-question survey before moving over to David Havenga, who's going to cover some of the monitoring and commissioning, the more technical aspects related to our C&I inverters. Okay, so yeah, just I'm not going to go into too much detail here, but just some company history. GoodWe was founded in 2010, so in 10 years, GoodWe has come quite a long way. And GoodWe has followed a slightly different approach with our inverters and R&D and our product introductions to the market. So many inverter manufacturers started with some of their larger products first, and then moved their product portfolio to the smaller products. GoodWe sort of followed a different approach where we started with the smaller products, and now we're growing our portfolio into CNI and also utility scale products. So with that, the reason I give you that context relates to our market share. So GoodWe has quite a big global presence, as you can see from all the countries that are mentioned where we're very active. GoodWe has a team of approximately, at this stage, approximately 1,000 employees globally. And of those 1,000, there are 200, well, just over 200 R&D staff, so dedicated to product development and product improvement. So we're very focused on product quality, and also very focused on product value. So that's the gist of GoodWe's mission and our vision. In terms of market share, global market share, in distributed PV, we're number one in China, and then also number one in the Czech Republic. Then Australia is a very active and fast-growing market, and we are number two in distributed PV in that market. And then probably the most, or definitely top three most active markets in the world is Holland, where GoodWe is number three. There are many other regions that are not mentioned here, such as South Africa. We've got a very rapid growing market share in South Africa, and then places like Germany. Also, Germany has been active since 2018, and they've generated a tremendous amount of market share in that very short space of time. And as I'm sure you guys would imagine, Germany is quality and reliability are very important factors for the German market. So it's not easy for anyone to, especially outsider nations, to break into the German market. And GoodWe has done exceptionally well in that regard. For three-phase string or grid tie inverters, so commercial inverters mostly, we are rated number 4 according to IHS Markit. And for our total product portfolio, we are number 7 in the world at the moment, but also climbing those ranks very quickly. This is just a very different depiction of where we stand globally according to IHS Markit. So as you can see there, number 4 in commercial and industrial product portfolio, and number 7 overall. And again, as I mentioned earlier, GoodWe started with the smaller products and is increasing the product size in our portfolio, whereas many of our competitors almost did the opposite. And global market share is measured in terms of megawatts. So when you have bigger products that you're selling to the market, so you're obviously getting more megawatts per unit. So GoodWe's done exceptionally well in that regard, and growing. Okay, then our CNI products and features. This is a broad view of our CNI products available to market. And as Nick mentioned, they carry a majority of our CNI product portfolio, mostly the MT range, which is our at the moment our largest commercial and industrial products available to market, with the largest being 80 kilowatts. And our three-phase string inverters start from 10 kilowatts, as you can see with the STD, with the dual MPPT, and move all the way up to 80 kilowatts with 4 MPPTs. And then all the way on the right of your screen, you can see our new products that we will be releasing to market in the second half of 2020. And those include a 100, 120, 136, and a 150 kilowatt HT inverter with 10 or 12 MPPTs, depending on the product. And then also very interesting for the CNI sector is our ETC and BTC inverters, which are, the BTC is an AC coupled inverter. It's a commercial battery inverter, and it's going to come in 50 kilowatt modules up to 200 kilowatts. And then the same thing for the ETC, except the ETC will be a commercial hybrid inverter. So those are interesting products that we are going to be releasing in the second half of 2020. Hey, as Nick mentioned, GoodWe has been racking up quite a number of global product and quality awards. So most significantly for GoodWe has been the All Quality Matters Award that's gauged by TUV Rhineland, obviously a very credible quality evaluator, and GoodWe has received the All Quality Matters Award from 2015 all the way through 2018, and we're the only inverter manufacturer globally to achieve that 4 years running. And then also with that, all our products are VDE tested for prolonged lifespan. And yeah, I've got a slide later where this is the slide right here that shows our most recent VDE certification, which is the VDE 4110. The certification covers medium voltage interconnection applications, and it's obviously specific to European and German interconnection standards. It's the most stringent and most expensive certification to achieve in Europe, and GoodWe is the first Chinese manufacturer of inverters to achieve the VDE 4110. So that was a nice feather in the cap for GoodWe this year. Also, just worth mentioning, and very briefly, is GoodWe was selected as the brand licensing partner for GE very recently. There was a press release that went out, I think it was 2 weeks ago, about the topic. I can't say too much about it, about our strategy around that going forward. But we will be hearing quite a lot more about the GE brand and the licensing agreement with GoodWe. Okay, and then Nick also covered this, but worth mentioning again, very much related to how GoodWe is focused on the South African market. So the City of Cape Town has their own approval list for inverters, and it's associated with NRS 097 certification. And GoodWe at this stage has pretty much the largest product portfolio listed on the City of Cape Town's list. This list that you can see on your screen is last month's list from the 25th of March. But there are several of our products that are not included on the list that were certified this month. So that list will be increasing quite a bit for the April release of the approval. Okay, I'm not going to go into too much detail here, and I'll give you guys a little bit of time to digest this slide, but these are all the testing procedures that GoodWe products go through for our certifications. There's an aging test, there's an IP65 test, There are several temperature tests and cycling of temperature tests. There's also a salt spray test, vibration test for transport considerations, and noise tests that our products go through. So it's quite a stringent process in order to achieve the international certifications. Okay, some of the highlights and benefits of our product. So one very big benefit, and probably the biggest benefit in comparison to our inverter competitors, is that GoodWe inverters, especially our CNI inverters, are designed for 100% plus kVA output across the entire temperature range that it's certified for. So from negative 30 degrees Celsius all the way up to 60 degrees Celsius, GoodWe inverters will produce 100% plus of their kVA rating. As you can see from the slide, if you have sufficient PV availability, which can be up to, you can oversize the DC by up to 50%, assuming that you have more than 100% available, more than 115% available, you can achieve, under certain conditions, you can achieve up to 15% AC in addition to the nameplate rating of the inverter. So this is one key difference with GoodWe inverters compared to other brands. So most other brands, you will, if it's rated, for example, as a 50 kilowatt product, only under, normal operating conditions will it produce that 100% of its nameplate rating, so 50 kilowatts. With GoodWe inverters, you can see up to 15% additional AC overloading. Okay, another point worth mentioning, I'm sure we're all familiar with bifacial modules and, the hype around bifacial, more specifically with ground-mounted and utility projects. But GoodWe has products available. If you look for these products, it's going to have BF in the model number of the product. But they account for the additional current that you will see on the DC input side of the inverter. So up to 12.5 amps on the input. So we have products specifically made for bifacial modules, if you guys come across that. Okay, then some of the optional extras that we offer with our products for enhanced safety. So we have arc fault circuit interrupter. We have a remote emergency shutdown option. We have internal humidity detection if that's required for the region where your project is being installed. There is also connector temperature detection. So temperature detection at the inputs and outputs of the inverter for safety reasons, if that's a requirement. And then also SPD type 2 lightning protection internal to the inverter on both the AC and the DC side as an option. So especially in South Africa or in Gauteng, more specifically, lightning is obviously a very big consideration and surge protection. So we do offer SPD type 2. Okay, your AFCI, so your arc fault circuit interrupter. So, traditional inverters are generally without any arc fault detection, where GoodWe does have the option of arc fault detection. It's an optional extra with the inverter, but that is available. And as we know, arc faults are quite an important safety consideration, especially with the DC associated with PV systems. And then also, as I've mentioned, an emergency shutdown or a remote shutdown of the inverter is also an option. And this allows you to turn off all inverters immediately and remotely with a single button operation. So this is required in many international jurisdictions, and I suspect that we will see this more and more coming about in South Africa for safety reasons. Okay, and then a big factor for GoodWe is cost. Obviously considering that solar systems cost is a very big consideration in any solar system. So as I mentioned, GoodWe's product firstly is the intent behind GoodWe in bringing these products to market is first and foremost to offer great value. And I think GoodWe does achieve that, especially considering comparison versus European inverter manufacturers. But at the same time, GoodWe is very focused on high quality and reliability. Some other cost-saving options that we offer is power line communication, so that you don't need additional cables and infrastructure for your monitoring and data collection within the system. And then also multi-MPPTs with integrated DC fuses is also something that we really focused on, which helps eliminate string combiner boxes. Okay, so PLC. We have this option available with a maximum distance of 1,000 meters, of cable run between all the inverters and the PV system as a whole. And then you can use this option with up to 40 inverters connected to our SCB2000. The SCB2000 is a product that enables PLC and is used to integrate the system using PLC. And also with multi-MPPTs, this reduces your need for string combiner boxes, which is another cost-saving factor. I won't go into too much detail there. I think it speaks for itself. Okay, then there's also options for string level monitoring, which allows for rapid identification of any potential issues or performance issues within your array. So either at the string or post your maximum power point. We do have the option of installing both current and voltage sensors in order to help in case of any troubleshooting that you might go through during the operation of PV system. Another big selling point for GoodWe commercial inverters is our smart fans. So fans are usually a point of failure within inverters, and GoodWe has incorporated these smart fans, and the smart fans meaning that the speed of the fan adjusts according to the temperature. Both the ambient temperature and also the internal temperature of the inverter. The speed of the fan adjusts according to that temperature. And then we almost over design, when it comes to the fans. and we have IP68 fans incorporated into the inverter to account for any consideration. So more specifically, dust in desert conditions. That's usually a problem. And so these IP68 fans, they're manufactured by the brand NMB, which is a Japanese brand. They alleviate that fan issue, that is, generally considered an issue with inverters. Okay, and then the last point worth mentioning is film capacitors versus electrolytic capacitors within the inverters. So film capacitors are, they are 4 times more reliable than electrolytic capacitors, and GoodWe only uses film capacitors within our inverter, which again increases the reliability of the product. Okay, and then very briefly, a quick introduction to the new products that we're going to see in 2020. I mentioned these earlier, but this is our HT inverter. So it's going to be from 100 kilowatts up to 150 kilowatts with either 10 MPPTs or 12 MPPTs. And the introduction date at this stage is going to be in Q3 2020. But as soon as we have more information on that, we will be sharing. And then lastly, our BTC and our ETC range of storage commercial products. So both of them will have adjustable reactive power. They'll have built-in remote shutdown. It's a modularized design, so with 50 kilowatt modules, up to 450 kilowatt modules to have a 200 kilowatt product. And then UPS level switch time, and it will also be able to manage 100% unbalanced loads on the output of the inverter. And that's it from my side. I'm going to switch it over to Lucas, who's going to just put some poll questions, just 2 very brief poll questions onto the screen. If you can answer those, it shouldn't take more than a minute. And then after that, we're going to move over to David Havenga, who's going to present some of the more technical aspects on monitoring and commissioning and considerations there. So thank you, everyone.
Okay, guys, the last 30 seconds. Okay, David, you can start.
Okay. Hello, everyone. I'm going to talk a bit about our monitoring solutions and inverter commissioning. So our three main products for monitoring is the SC1000, the EZ-Logger Pro, and the SCB2000. So we have a bit of configuration. So if you have a single inverter, there's a different configurations for that. So most of our inverters have internal Wi-Fi devices, so that you can just monitor the PV production from that single inverter. If you require exploitation limit for that, you can purchase a GM3000 smart meter, which is our three-phase smart meter. And just with the inverter, you can monitor and export limit. With the EZ-Logger Pro, it gives you the optional LAN. So can give you the above functions as well as LAN. So if your inverter is outside in a plant room and you need to run LAN cables for that, it's best to use an EZ-Logger Pro. So the GM3000 can also work with the EZ-Logger Pro to give you that export limitation. If you need full monitoring, as well as the export limitation, the SCC1000 is required. The SCC1000 allows you to use your own CTs. So that's, you can use any normal 5-ratio current CTs for that. The SCC1000 is EZ-Logger Pro. You can also have third-party generator controllers and third-party weather stations. With our multiple inverter setup, and if your supply is larger than 120 amps, you'll need to use the SCC1000, because the GM3000, the CTs that are included with the GM3000 are only 120 amps, and they are not exchangeable. So the EZ-Logger Pro will, if you just require PV monitoring of a multiple inverter plant with no limitation, you can just install an EZ-Logger Pro. If you want the full monitoring with the load monitoring and export limitation, SCC1000 is the way to go. And the SCB2000 then comes into play once you've got a transformer isolated system. Then you can have the full monitoring and export limitation with the PLC communication. So this does require a transformer isolated system. So no loads in between the inverter and the actual transformer. The third-party controllers also work with the SCB2000. So all of our monitoring products does support the third-party generator controllers and weather stations. So all of our monitoring goes to our SEMS portal. You can create a SEMS portal account here, or you can ask Rubicon to create an installer's account for you. If you already have an email address that is registered on the SEMS portal, you'll have to use another email address to have an installer account registered. If you want to just go through and see all the different type of plants and what you'll see on those plants, you can just press on the demo above, and the demo will then give you all the different plants, so you can see the different informations. On the installer plant, you'll see we get a bit more information here. We have an alarms page and our reports page. So in the reports page, you can go and select your plant, select your inverters, and the different data points. You can export all of that into Excel. Here's just an example of a single inverter with export limiting using the smart meter. So we have our single inverter with its internal Wi-Fi connected via RS485 to the smart meter connected onto the main incomer from Eskom. One thing that we need to just make sure when any of these GM3000 smart meters are installed is the line sense below the meters. You can see they go from left to right below the meter, and above it's from right to left. So that's something just very important with the GM3000 that needs to be taken into account. For our multiple inverters with the SEC 1000, you'll see you can use your own custom CTs. The SEC 1000 has an internal breaker, so we just connect our lines 1, 2, and 3 and neutral up to this, and we can connect our CTs below. In the SEC 1000, we've got full Wi-Fi and LAN as well. So for our commissioning, when using a smart meter and a single device, the commissioning will take place on the LED screen of the inverter. And should it not have an LED screen, the Solar Go app will be used. So via the inverter's direct Wi-Fi, you can connect to it, run the Solar Go application, and then we can configure the inverter from that Solar Go application. Commissioning when we use the EZ-Logger Pro, SEC 1000 and SCB 2000. We use an application called ProMate, and this works over LAN. So we connect to the device. You can either connect directly with a laptop or connect it to your local network, scan for its address, and then connect to it. So yes, some important things that we just need to pay attention to when we set it up with ProMate. We always need to ensure that export is enabled. If that's disabled, then the inverters will not produce power. We must select the total capacity of the plant, which is very important. And if it's 0 export, the power limit should be set to 0. So once we've typed all of that, we need to hit the set button. If we want to export, we can ensure that the power limit is set to a higher value than the total capacity. Below that, we'll find our CT ratio. The CT ratio is the calculation of the transformer size. So if it's a 200 to 5, we take 200 divided by 5. That will give us 40, which is our CT ratio. So we just input that, hit the set button. After pressing the set button, we're going to select Get Data. It will open a pop-up window. And in that pop-up window, we can select the type of limiting that we like. So in most instances, we'll use the scan each phase, which will work on the lowest phase limiting. So that will limit to the lowest producing or lowest consuming phase. And then if a customer has net metering, which is measured on the HT side, you can use scan of total 3 phases, which is average phase limiting. With average phase limiting, you might find export on 1 or 2 of the phases, while importing on 1 of the phases. After that, we must check our values. So here we'll see the values read by each CT. We want to make sure that they are all reading similar values. Positive will indicate that we are exporting energy to the grid. Negative will mean we are importing energy from the grid. So if we see an imbalance here, when the inverter is not producing power, then we'll know whether our CTs are either incorrectly installed or we have the incorrect line connected. So on our website, we've got a lot of available resources. If you go to our website, you'll see under support is our download page. That will give you an option of certificates, user manuals, or software. There's not a lot of software at the moment. The user manuals you'll find, which is very handy. Under user manuals, you'll find our battery compatibility lists and all those essential documents for the products that you select. So you'll select your type of document, then you select your product. You can select all of the series or the specific product you're looking for, and then we'll select English in South Africa, but the other languages are available as well. On our website, under our support tab, we have system design. We have our EZ designer. So this is a completely different login. Yeah, you'll just have to register, create a new account. So our EZ designer is there to help you with your installations, just to ensure that everything is correct. Your string layouts and everything is correctly calculated. So it's always recommended to use a registered program like PVSYST for any accounting related products, for your customers to see their production estimates and all that related information. Here's just a quick example of the plant that I created. You'll see we've got most of the manufacturer's modules already data inputted onto our portal. So you can just select your manufacturer. There's a very long list of manufacturers. You select the module. That will have all the different variables in that. If it is not on our website, you can manually input all the variables of a module that you are using. You select the number of modules you're going to be using, and then it will give you options. You can select then your inverter. After you select your inverter, it's going to give you multiple options for different string configurations, depending on the oversizing of the stringing on your inverters. What's nice about this is it calculates with your location. It calculates the VMP at the lowest recorded temperature, as well as the VOC at the lowest recorded temperature. So very often this is missed, the temperature coefficient calculations, to see that we don't exceed our voltage on our MPPTs should the temperatures be at an ideal condition at 12 o'clock in the day. So we can see everything is perfectly aligned, and that's just a good guidance for our string configurations on our inverters. So all our CNI inverters come standard with the integrated fuses. They are removable fuses. They're not soldered in fuses, so they are replaceable. And we also have SPDs type 2 standard, both on our DC and on our AC. With the inverter modular design, it's easy to replace components and repair the inverters even once they're out of warranty. We are working on setting up local part center as well as on-site support. So we hope to have this completed by Q1 in 2021. And that's all of it from my side.
That concludes our webinar for today. Thanks a lot for participating. I hope you learned a lot. I hope we piqued your interest for new questions, which as you are in contact with most probably Nick and other team members in Rubicon, maybe some of you also with GoodWe, just whenever you have questions by email and so you have the contacts, please let us know. Thanks again for attending and taking your time to listen to us, and have a good day and have a great weekend. Thanks a lot.